Hey guys, Martin here, bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so today we are going to be jumping in with a bit of speculation about upcoming anniversary stuff. I'll be doing a few videos like this throughout this week until we get confirmation on all the info. It's always fun to think about the kind of stuff that we're going to see upcoming. I'm definitely going to do a video about the new LRs, what their leader skills could be, something to do with upcoming EZAs, although that one will be interesting because we know the overall theme of the celebration is Dragon Ball Super and not just necessarily like the Broly movie, right? So units unrelated to the Broly movie from Dragon Ball Super could EZA in part 1, and technically that could be the case for the side banner units as well. So we are going to be talking about banner units here. Now, for part 1 of the anniversary, we essentially know at this point that Broly is the Dokkan Fest exclusive, and then Gogeta is a Carnival LR. So only Broly's banner will have a side banner unit. I have thought about some super type characters from the movie that we could potentially see, but we would ideally like it if the side banner unit is going to be on his team. Now, a lot of that is going to depend on how they decide to do the Super Bosses category, which we know from the fan meetup is being introduced as a new category. So assumingly that is going to be one of Broly's 170 leads. So some of these units that we are going to talk about here potentially wouldn't even be on Super Bosses. And it depends what his other 170 would be. You know, so I guess it will be interesting to see how this will work out, because one of the characters I had an idea for that I thought would work quite well as a banner unit for Broly, in practice probably doesn't work that well considering the categories they would share. They might not actually share any at all, but we'll talk about that as we go here. And then, of course, like I say, I did include some super type characters because originally I'd set this up thinking, oh, who could the banner units be for Broly and for Gogeta? Only to remember, of course, that Gogeta is a Carnival LR, so his banner will not have a side banner unit. It will have a couple of featured LRs, like including last year's anniversary Carnival LR, for example. Whether Gogeta's banner will have Gohan or Goku, we don't know. And then it should have the worldwide as well, so his banner will have either Future Gohan or Sword of Hope Trunks, so his banner could be very, very good. But yeah, he won't have a side banner unit, so a super type unit from the Broly movie could be included as Broly's side banner unit, but I do think that's less likely than someone that will go on his team, which ideally is what we would want, right? So one of the first picks that comes to mind straight away is, of course, Paragus, right? We have this character who is the base Paragus from Dragon Ball Super Broly, who of course awakens into Paragus and Broly. That's a unit we'll talk about more, of course, in the which units could EZA video, because they still don't have an EZA. The only problem with this, of course, is that Paragus is only on Pure Saiyans, and so that's the only category he would be on with Broly. And as we know, with the way they've done GT bosses and movie bosses, Paragus, considering he's not the main boss and actually doesn't even really fight anyone in the entire movie, he probably won't be on the super bosses category. So then it just depends what Broly's other leader skills are going to be. Will he have Pure Saiyans as a leader skill? I wouldn't have thought so, but we've seen from, like, they gave Raditz and Turles, the two, like, Extreme Saiyan Dokkan Fest releases that we've had in the last year or so. They gave both of them Pure Saiyans as one of their leader skills. Because even though they are extreme units, because of their links and everything, they often only really work well with other Saiyan characters. And if this new Broly is going to continue the Broly curse of not having big bad bosses, then he's going to work better with other Saiyan characters anyway. So Pure Saiyans, whilst I probably wouldn't want it to be one of his 170 leads, I could see him having it. I mean, I guess a team of like super bosses plus Pure Saiyans would be pretty cool if you start being able to add in like Turles and stuff like that, but that would be the only way they would kind of be on the same team together, because I don't think Paragus would get any other categories unless they decide to do some kind of updated version of Paragus in some way. I mean, they always can hopefully make super bosses a bit more inclusive, like they do for, super bosses, like they do for superheroes, movie heroes, where it's like every character, not just the main hero. Like, imagine if superhero category, it was only like Gohan from Superhero and then Gogeta from the movie and not anyone else. Like, those categories would suffer just as much as the extreme side, so I don't know why they do that. But yeah, base Paragus would be pretty good, especially because he'll have a different name. If they do have Easy A these guys, then they would obviously all work fairly well together, but that obviously remains to be seen. Now, someone who should be on Super Bosses is, of course, the Golden Frieza from the movie. We have this free-to-play one, who, again, we'll talk about him more in the potential Easy A units video. I could definitely see him getting an Easy A during the celebration, but a new Golden Frieza as a side banner unit for Broly would be kind of interesting, especially considering that Broly spends, what is it, like a good hour in the movie while the Goku and Vegeta are off trying to fuse correctly, just absolutely beating the brakes off of Frieza. So it would be kind of funny if he was the side banner unit for him. Golden Friezas usually are very good tanks, so pretty appropriate, of course, for him to be a strong defensive unit were that the case. But the other thing I did think of course, is we have this guy that's the free-to-play version, but the card that you farm that awakens into him is just the base, like the final form Frieza. And the art's really cool, right? He has the Dragon Balls. One of the things I was thinking is we've seen a lot of extra budget being put into side banner units in some of these bigger celebrations. We saw units like the physical Zamasu and the tech Vegeta from Battle of Gods having either like intros or transformation active skills and stuff like that. Be pretty cool to get a final form Frieza, and he could have an entrance animation with him like maybe coming down the steps of the ship and then having the Dragon Balls like floating around like his hand, like the art from this, as an intro animation. I think that would be very cool. And then obviously he could be, I mean, similar to this guy, could be a movie bosses support unit, but of course he would be on Super Bosses, and then he could be a Super Bosses support unit, so would be a very good asset to that Broly team. Make him a third slot floating unit, give him damage reduction before he attacks, so he can be good against AoE bosses, and then give him just some sort of like decent on super effect for defense. And then he could be a very, very good asset to that team, even if he's not directly linking with Broly, because obviously we don't know if he'll be a slot 1 or slot 2 unit. But I think he would be a very good choice, and a unit that we can pretty much guarantee will actually be on Super Bosses, because Broly being on Super Bosses as the new leader obviously confirms that, kind of like with Superhero Piccolo and Gohan also being on Battle of Fate as well as movie heroes, which they haven't often done in the past. It means that Broly should be on movie bosses and Super Bosses. So there's no reason why these Friezas wouldn't be as well. So I think Frieza definitely is an interesting choice for him. Funnily enough, we still don't have a Dokkan Fest Final Form Frieza, which is crazy. But yeah, side banning unit for him would be good. And then the other unit that I kind of thought of, which I think is maybe a bit less likely, is we have the Broly, Chi-Lai, and Lemo. Again, we'll talk about them in the potential Easy A video. But imagine if they did a card that was just Chi-Lai and Lemo, because we have a solo Chi-Lai, we have this card. So Chi-Lai and Lemo together could be a unit that would be maybe a support unit for the team or something like that. The only problem is when we look at their categories, like they would only be on Join Forces and Bond of Friendship, maybe Power of Wishes, right, if they're incorporating that part into the card. Which means that the actual Dokkan Fest LR Broly wouldn't be on any of these categories. So, and they wouldn't be on Super. I mean, we're assuming they're on movie bosses because Broly is there. Unless, of course, Lemo, you know, there's always the meme about this is the only, like, Broly unit that has big bad bosses. Broly on his own doesn't have it. Chi-Lai on her own doesn't have it. So does that mean that Lemo is the big bad boss? So maybe a Lemo and Chi-Lai card would actually have big bad bosses and be on Super Bosses. But we would assume not, right? So as much as it would be an interesting idea for a card to have them together without Broly, it just doesn't really make sense because it wouldn't be on his category. So the other choice, the final choice I had that was, funnily enough, suggested in the stream by someone when we were talking about it yesterday, is they could do what they did with the AGL 21 Dokkan Fest release, where AGL 21 came out, she's the base form human Android 21 and transforms into Martian 21, and then her side banner unit was the Evil 21, so the same character but a different form. So we could finally get a new Wrathful Broly as the side banner unit. Because this guy was really good when he came out, but then he got an Easy A straight away. So obviously he aged after that and then had no hope of sort of ever making a comeback because he already has an Easy A. So a new Wrathful Broly as a side banner unit would be pretty cool. He has some very cool animations from that early part of the movie that could be used as an intro or an active skill or something like that. So I think if with the actual banner unit being Super Saiyan Broly that transforms into full power. This guy being the side banner unit I think would work very nicely. They share a bunch of links, even though they won't have Super Saiyan, or obviously this guy doesn't have legendary power. They would link up fairly well. This guy could obviously be a support. I do like it more so when the banner units are support. I think my favorite like archetype for a side banner unit is just a support that is very strong defensively, because then you can throw them on these teams, and even if they're not going to be direct link partners, they make good third slot floating units. So I definitely would like to see this Broly. And hey, if we do get, as I keep making the joke, right, the guy who designed Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta for the anniversary for the 7-year and decided to give him Saiyan Raw finally, maybe they decide to give Broly Big Bad Bosses finally, and then this guy could get Big Bad Bosses as well technically. So them as a rotation would be super good. So those are a couple of the extreme class. Those are the ones that I think are maybe the most likely. But like I said, with Gogeta not getting a side banner unit, I thought I would throw in some super class options as well. And one of the ones I thought of was, of course, we have our boy Veku. The one we have in the game is, of course, the one from Fusion Reborn. He has the orange trim on the vest, whereas obviously Gogeta from the Broly movie has the yellow. The only thing, of course, with Veku is, at least in the Janemba movie, he actually does kind of do something, which is where his super attack animation comes from. Whereas in the Dragon Ball Super Broly, he doesn't do anything, right? They just wait to diffuse and then try again. So I do think it's very unlikely. One of the only reasons why I even thought him up was back before I'd even remembered that Gogeta wouldn't get a side banner unit. I was thinking if Gogeta's 200% lead is like Fusion or Fused Fighters or Time Limit or something like that, this guy would be on his team, so it could be like a side banner unit for him. But Gogeta's not going to get one, so I think that makes it way less likely that we'd actually see him, especially because in the Broly movie he actually doesn't do anything. So, but one unit I think could be quite interesting is we got the free-to-play Coat Goku and Coat Vegeta. So imagine those two together as a side banner unit, just the Goku and Vegeta together. They could be like a Movie Heroes support unit, or just make them like a Pure Saiyan support unit, because then not only would they be good for Movie Heroes, which has very many good Pure Saiyans on it, but then they could go on Broly's team and support Broly. So that could be very interesting. Now, again, I wouldn't probably bet on any of these super type options over the extreme options that we've talked about, but I do think this would be very cool. I actually did see someone suggest this idea as like the free to play LR, because we know that obviously every anniversary there's a free to play LR that by the end of the anniversary will get an EZA and has the new mechanic, right? So it will have the taunt mechanic. Don't know if that fits in necessarily with the idea of these two together as a card, but I think that would be pretty cool to get a joined forces unit of the Blue Goku and Vegeta with the winter jackets on. I think that would be quite cool. And then the last option that I thought would be very interesting would be to get a new Whis, because technically the Whis from the Broly movie would of course be on Movie Heroes, which we don't have a Whis that's on Movie Heroes. Considering what he does in the movie, he would obviously be much like the other Whis anyway, of course, but a very dodge based character. Maybe give him like the Harudagan mechanic where he gets a couple of dodges and then that gives him guaranteed dodge for the next turn. So yeah, I think he could be an interesting choice. Again, all of these super type ones were ones that I was thinking about for like a side banner unit for Gogeta until I remembered he won't get one. So I think they're less likely to be the side banner unit on the Broly banner, but they are directly related to the Broly movie. So I think there is a possibility at the very least that they could happen. But obviously with characters like Whis, Veku, even then going back to like, you know, Achila and Lemo, these guys wouldn't be on Broly's team, almost certainly. So we probably don't really want them to be the side banner unit for him. Whereas obviously if he does get Pure Saiyans as a secondary leader skill, these guys would work on his team, so would a Paragus. And then of course I think probably the top pick I think is going that Android 21 route and giving us a new Wrathful Broly, because we got that STR base Broly as the side banner unit for the gods in the 7-year, and unfortunately he was never particularly great. So a new Wrathful Broly I think would be really, really good alongside the new Super Saiyan Broly. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. I don't think there's really anyone I missed from the movie that we could consider, but of course, as I said, with the theme being just Dragon Ball Super overall, the side banner unit could even be someone not, you know, from the Dragon Ball Super movie, although I would probably lean more towards it being someone from there. But obviously it doesn't necessarily have to be. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. Who do you think the banner unit will be for Broly? Obviously we'll do another one of these for the part 2 when we find out who that is. I'm still leaning towards it being Beast Gohan as the super type Dokkan Fest exclusive LR, and then Cell Max as the extreme carnival, but we will have to wait and see. So let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. If you liked one of these picks and you want them to be the side banner unit and you have some ideas what you'd like them to do, like for their kit, let me know down below in the comment section. And yeah, we will wait for more information, but until then we will be having some fun speculating about various things over here. Probably do the leader skill or the easy A one for tomorrow as well. So let me know all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Any ideas for the new LR's leader skills or for units that could easy A could potentially make it into that video, and I will give you a shout out. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.